Initially, this problem looks hard, but once you understand physically how you're going to go about solving it, it's really not that bad. Eventually, it comes down to we find a way to calculate the initial mass, we calculate the mass reacted, we subtract, and that gives us our remaining mass. To calculate the initial mass, we look at this cube. We can calculate the volume of this cube by multiplying the length times the width times the height. Then once we have the volume of the cube, multiply by the density, and we get our mass of our initial cube. This cube is then placed in acid. A chemical reaction occurs. You see the chemical reaction here. And we collect the hydrogen gas that's evolved over the course of this reaction. We collect the gas at STP, and therefore we can determine the moles of hydrogen produced, relate that to the moles of zinc, and then finally, once we have the moles of zinc that reacted, we can easily calculate the mass of zinc that reacted. Again, a quick summary. We have a means to calculate the initial mass. We have a means to calculate the mass reacted. We do the subtraction, and we can determine the remaining mass. You know this problem is going to be on your midterm. Be ready for it. You'll be able to get your points. Here's where we calculated the initial mass. So we have the length times the width times the height. That gives us a volume of the cube in cubic centimeters. We get the density of zinc from our conversion sheet. And we see from our units that we're going to get units of grams. So that's our initial mass. Now we're going to calculate our mass reacted. Okay, we have the volume of gas that's produced at STP. 6.95 liters of H2. We go to our conversion sheet to remind ourselves 22.414 liters per mole of any gas at STP. So now we know the moles of H2. We go to our balanced chemical equation and see that there's a 1-to-1 mole ratio. So now we know our moles of zinc that have reacted. We can multiply by the atomic weight of zinc that we get from the periodic table to get the grams of zinc that have reacted. So now we have our initial mass. We have our mass that reacted. We subtract to find the mass remaining. So we have our calculator answer. Now we're going to go back and worry about the Sig Figs. In our initial mass, we see we're limited to 3 Sig Figs by this first number. For the mass reacted, we're also going to be limited to 3 Sig Figs. Now in each case, our number is good to the tenths decimal place. So when we look at our final answer, we realize we can't go beyond the tenths place. The first number to be dropped is greater than 5. So we round up, meaning we add 1 to the preceding decimal place. And finally, we get to our final answer of 6.3 grams.